Welcome to the Fly Route Pod. Whether it's your first time listening to any of our videos or you're a return listener, do us a favor. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content.
The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
Welcome to the final segment of our show, the heart of our show, Ballers Bouquet. Too often in the media, people only want to focus on the negative and salacious things athletes do and never want to give them their credit where credit is due. Here, we like to make a change. So this week's Ballers Bouquet goes to a fantastic receiver, never had under 1,000 yards in his career, Mike Evans, for his Mike Evans Family Foundation free youth football camp. Now look, Mike Evans holds this free football camp almost every year since 2015, COVID permitting. And this camp hosts close to 150 kids from Galveston, Texas. They re-amped it back up this summer. And it was, the first time after a year off from, the pandemic season. And attendees at this camp receive things like camp shirts, mini football, snacks, mouth guards, all for free. Mike Evans and coaches from his former high school, Ball High School, all show up. They coach the kids. The kids get one-on-ones with Mike Evans. Mike Evans even plays football with these kids. And for everybody who's a frequent listener of the podcast, you know that, yes, the monetary gifts are huge. Yes, things like free camps are huge, but even more huge is the actual one-on-one interaction and experience that these kids get from people that are from the same neighborhood, city, town, could even went to the same schools as them, etc. And they get that actual real experience with someone that could be basically like a hero for them. The blueprint. They are aspiring to hit the goals that he has hit. And I think that's something that's huge, and it's very hard to understate it. So this camp is massive, does a lot for the kids. They host a lot of kids, but even more so, after the camp happens, they send 5 kids on a shopping spree at a sports store where they can get a bunch of football gear, etc. Each kid gets $500 to spend however they please at the store. And that is just another nice cherry on top for all the good that Mike Evans is doing. But as you all know, listeners of the Fly Route podcast, but wait, there is more. Mike Evans and his family foundation also provide 13 scholarships for college a year. This past year, it totaled $65,000, which means all 13 students get a $5,000 scholarship. It is based off need because they want to be able to help people that may not be able to get or go to the schools that they dream of and can get into simply because of their financial situation. And Mike Evans is quoted saying, Ashley and I, Ashley, who was his wife, want these young students to know that if they work hard, they can accomplish anything, that your financial situation shouldn't stop you from your goals. And Ashley is a very big part of this. Mike Evans is on record multiple times saying a lot of this thanks and this praise need to go to Ashley. So Ashley is also getting a Ballers Bouquet here because she is functionally the CEO and runs the day-to-day of this foundation and all the great endeavors that they do, allowing Mike to focus on football, especially during the season like we are approaching now. But wait, there is more. Mike Evans and his family foundation also pledged $100,000 to COVID relief recently, $50,000 of it going to Tampa Bay and the other $50,000 going to his hometown of Galveston. And they were able to help over 53,000 individuals across 31,000 households with essential needs due that they were kind of out on because of the pandemic. And we know how it affected a lot of people here deeply. Now, the last thing I want to say is we always ask ourselves, this is huge. We want to give athletes their flowers while they're here because when people will always focus on the negative, they won't always focus on the positive. Mike Evans, we wonder why he gives back so much. And he says 2 things. This city made me. who I am and I'll never forget. That mindset of making sure that you stay grounded and remembering where you came from is always something that's super huge. And we love to see in our athletes and people that are massively successful. But more importantly, he talks about someone named Casey Hampton, who, when he was a kid, held these type of camps in his area that he was actually able to go to. And he said ever since he was a kid, he's always dreamed of being able to do the same thing and give back the same way that someone gave back to him. And him continuing that trend is something that earns him this week's Ballers Bouquet